Grab your dancing shoes, because we're heading to a DJ Flame show this episode. We've got a ton of Easter eggs and cameos to cover, plus some puzzling theories about what lies beyond the multiverse. You're watching WhitneyVision, and this is our breakdown of the Lion of Embers. This is your spoiler warning! If you haven't seen Season 2, Episode 3 of Fionna and Cake yet, hit pause on this video and come back once you've heard Felix's hot new single. The episode opens with a flashback to Prismo's original Fionna and Cake fanfiction world. Fionna severs the ice automaton's arm. The third time this season we've gotten foreshadowing that Fionna is probably gonna lose her arm like Finn. But although she's able to rescue Flame Prince from the Ice Queen's clutches, something weird starts happening in Fionna world. FP suddenly surges with heat when Fionna kisses him, and the ice palace around them starts melting away. Eventually the screen glitches, and Fionna's wearing her lifeguard uniform and carrying a sandwich in non-canon Fionna world. If you line up everything that happens after Fionna smooches Flame Prince, it fits perfectly with the events of Come Along With Me, when Simon, Betty, and Finn are being digested in Gulb's stomach. As they're broken down to their most essential forms, the Ice Crown deactivates, and Simon loses his powers, returning fully to his sane human state. As he fades from the Ice King into Simon, that's when the Ice Kingdom in Fionna world begins to melt. Her universe completely loses its magic the moment his brain is restored, leaving everyone inside Simon's mind with zero memories of their former fanfic selves. The next Easter egg was found by Jag M, the creator of the Adventure Time chronology page. The reason why Fionna is holding a sandwich when she transitions into the real world is a subtle nod to Jake from the original series. Several times in the OG series, when Jake was given a wish, he wished for a sandwich. Like when he first visited Prismo's time room. He wished for one and Prismo was like, dude, you should use your wish for something better than that. I can literally just make you a sandwich. It also so happens that in the comics, Fionna's sword has wish-granting abilities. So when her sword becomes normalized, it uses the last of its wish magic to keep this gag going. That's why we see Cake pop out of the trash can as soon as she catches a whiff of that Sammy. As Jake's variant, it would probably be her ultimate wish too. Behind Fionna, you can still see early remnants of Gulbetty's influence already present in town. There's a statue that looks a lot like Magic Man's hat, and Gulbetty's eyes are graffitied on that garage. Walking down the street, you can also spot Fionna World's freshly humanized versions of Ron James, Potable Wizard, Hot Dog Knight, and Wildberry Princess. My favorite Easter egg in this scene is the Porp Soda vending machine, featuring Porp's mascot Cheryl. In the Adventure Time episodes Death in Bloom and Dark Purple, we learn a lot of lore about this soft drink brand. Apparently, it predates the Mushroom War, as Marceline remembers hearing its commercial jingle when she was a kid. Princess Bubblegum also claims to have drunk Porp in her youth, meaning that it somehow survived the nuclear blast to provide survivors and radioactive creatures with its sweet purple taste. After fighting with Queenie, the gang learns that they have to come up with $20,000 to buy the space for the sweet spot by the end of the week. So Fionna heads to the park to see if Hunter will help her throw a fundraiser. But after talking to him about meeting with the park committee, Fionna leaves and runs right smack into DJ Flame. He invites her to his concert, and I'm just like, girl, he broke up with you via text message. Do not go to his wannabe EDM show. Cake heads over to the Lemon Carb Cafe to work on the logo for the fundraiser. I love that when she pulls out her phone to text Mcron, she has most of her contacts spelled wrong because she's a cat. My personal favorite is Ellis Peen. Cake is sitting next to CB, this world's version of Cinnamon Bun, and the human variants of Keoth, creator of the Demon Sword, and Bandit Princess walk by the window outside. That night, Fionna, Cake, and Mcron wait in line outside of Belly, the happening nightclub where Felix is performing. It's named after the events of Season 2's Belly of the Beast, where the party bears decided to throw a soiree in the stomach of a giant monster. We see the Yellow Shirt Banana Guard guys, Miss Raybo, aka the Crabbit, and Ashley, aka Ash, also waiting to get inside. I definitely need your help identifying this blonde woman in a mint green dress though. After our trio walks through the doors of Belly, we see a ton of variants grooving to the music, like this Fionna World version of the Party Bears, Party Pat, and the Ice Clops girly. Any of the partiers with random things on their heads, like a cheeseburger, a lotus flower, an ice cream cone, or whatever else, are party bears swapping the monikers on their stomachs for headbands. On the balcony, you can spot the roller derby fairy girls and Abracadanielle, the gender-swapped version of Abracadaniel. You can also spot DJ Slime wearing a GROF radio station sweatshirt from work. There are two other balcony characters that look super familiar to me, but I'm not 100% sure I'm right about their identities. This person in a shoulder-padded business suit looks a lot like shoulder-padded spotted Trauma John from the Destiny gang. But that's a wild guess on my end. Likewise, I think that girl in the spiky brown dress is supposed to be the porcupine, but I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But when DJ Flame appears on stage to show off his new girlfriend Fennel, Fionna fully crashes out. Fennel is obviously Fern's counterpart in this world, and she and Fie are already off to the same rockiness that was prevalent throughout Finn and Fern's relationship. Sad and drunk, Fionna stumbles into the park, drunk texting Cake some heavily misspelled apologies for ruining her date with Emkron. She barges into the park department office to talk to Hunter, who's in the process of changing their shirt. Vico Ortiz, Hunter's voice actor, confirmed on Blue Sky that Hunter's scars are from top surgery, and I'm so excited that this season is giving us more trans representation. I've seen a lot of fans online speculating as to whether or not this means that Huntress Wizard is also trans. I honestly don't know the answer to that one, but I do think it's important to note that our girl is technically part plant, and could be anywhere on the gender spectrum. Plants have the ability to change gender from male to female and vice versa, or exist as both male and female at the same time, so I wouldn't rule out the possibility that Huntress's gender is fluid throughout the multiverse. Plus, I love that Hunter is a true homie for not smooching Fionna when she was wasted AF. Just date them instead of stupid DJ Flame when you sober up, Fionna. He dumped you via text message. Hunter is trying to help you throws a fundraiser. Come on! Now it's time to take a trip down to B-Plot Town, where Simon, Marcy, and Princess Bubblegum are working tirelessly to try to save Finn. Check out Marceline's cat sweater. We first saw her wear it back in Season 4's Return to the Nightosphere. I love that these two are such little freaks for each other, but I did see a tweet that absolutely devastated me. Percy Cyclops pointed out that Jake's death kicked off the part of their lives where they have to watch as all of their mortal friends and loved ones die around them. Even Simon will eventually age and die without the Ice Crown's magic to keep him alive for centuries like it once did. This is exactly why Marcy and PB have always been so independent. They've both faced significant losses in their expansive lifetimes, and didn't want to go through those processes again. That's why Bubblegum started sciencing up her own candy citizens, and why Marceline was a little more solitary in the early days of Adventure Time. With Jake gone and Finn on death's door, the reality that they'll eventually lose all of their friends is starting to sink in. PB is running a bunch of tests on Finn in a gigantic magical MRI machine, a reference to a similar machine used in Akira. Although his diagnostic chart looks pretty dire, Bubblegum deduces that the poison killing him is also what's keeping him alive by reading and eating a chunk of fruit by the foot medical paper. Honestly, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Stranger Things when Will was struggling with the parasitic relationship going on with the Upside Down still inside his body. It was definitely making him sick and unstable, but it wouldn't let him die outright because Vecna still needed to use Will's body as a spy. It makes me wonder if the green poison from the dimensional tree and the stag is somehow also keeping Finn alive for a later purpose, even though it's simultaneously sucking the life out of him now. The princesses of Ooh have their own theory, however. They believe that it's their moral responsibility to each kiss Finn and try to wake him up with true love. Some of the babes that show up for him include Hot Dog Princess, Wildberry Princess, Crab Princess, Engagement Ring Princess, Cotton Candy Princess, Slime Princess, Toast Princess, Emerald Princess, Muscle Princess, Lumpy Space Princess, Space Angel Princess, Raggedy Princess, Purple Princess, See-Through Princess, Elbow Princess, Peanut Princess, Skeleton Princess, Breakfast Princess, and Embryo Princess. Of course, Flame Princess aka Phoebe also shows up to throw her hat in the ring. When he doesn't wake up, she shrugs and admits that she's dating someone new now too. But hold on, who is she dating? We all saw Fern implode into a pile of grass blades at the end of Come Along With Me, but his parallel female variant is currently hooking up with DJ Flame in Fionna World. Maybe I'm reading way too far into this and FP is just dating a random unknown person. But is it possible that Fern was able to regain corporeal form in the last few years? Could there even be another world's Fern crossing over into Ooze reality? When the princesses storm the castle, one of the banana guards recommends that they all use the lemniscate ends of their battle spears to gently fight them off. In algebraic geometry, a lemniscate is any figure eight or infinity symbol shaped curve. Unfortunately, none of the princesses, including PB, are able to save Finn, and that's why she asks each of them to bring her the jewels necessary to activate the Enchiridion again, hoping that it will lead her to a cure for her friend. She knows that the longer he lingers in this coma-like state, the more difficult it's going to be to restore him to his former health. They need to find a cure like yesterday, and they don't have time to wait around for Huntress Wizard to show up with a magical plant cure. And after seeing where Huntress is at this episode, I don't exactly blame her for wanting to push forward without her. Our girl is just a little baby seedling in Fiona's barren flower pot, and at this point, she's struggling just to get a sip of water. I don't think she's quite ready to pop back into OO with all the answers at this stage. Huntress decides to meditate in order to focus her energy on finding a way to hydrate. This scene is pretty similar to the one that took place back in Season 3's Still, where Finn uses meditation to transport himself to the astral plane. He and Jake have been frozen in place by the Ice King's stillness potion, and he seeks guidance for getting them out of this jam. Both Huntress and Finn appear as genderless beings of pure light in the astral plane, and they each run into Dream Warrior, the blue version of the Spirit of the Forest that I briefly talked about in my Episode 2 breakdown. The streets are saying that they're the exact same character, but I'm still trying to figure out why they take on different colors and appearances in and out of the astral plane. In Dream Warrior's first episode, Who Would Win from the original series, Finn and Jake meet this guy inside of a shared dream after getting knocked out by the farm. Speaking in riddles, Dream Warrior advises them on how to defeat the monster. Although the boys don't know what he's talking about in the moment, they figure out what his sage recommendation meant when they're face to face with the farm. In this scene, Huntress refers to him as Spirit Warrior, so going forward, I'm gonna also refer to the green version of the Spirit of the Forest as Dream Warrior, and this blue version as Spirit Warrior, even though those weren't their original titles in Adventure Time. Hopefully we'll find out why these guys switch names in the series, but it could just be a retcon by the writers. Spirit Warrior opens up his conversation by asking Huntress if she wants to go where everybody knows her name, a reference to the Cheers theme song. No matter how many times he refills her water glass, she can't seem to get a sip of it. In his signature cryptic way, Spirit Warrior offers Huntress a beet and encourages her to follow it to the roots. In mythology, beets are an ancient symbol of love, primarily associated with the goddess Aphrodite. But this reddish-purple veggie is also used in Germanic folklore to identify a shape-shifting trickster character named Rubizal. In German, the name Rubizal translates to turnip count. The name stems from a fairy tale in which the trickster kidnaps a princess and creates friends for her out of turnips in his garden. Each day, the turnips would rot, and Rubizal would have to replace the princess's friends to keep her from feeling lonely. One night, the princess tricked Rubizal by sending him to count how many turnips were left. While he was distracted, she made her escape, and his name was solidified in folklore as the turnip counter. Spirit Warrior's words and actions are always a little cryptic, but I believe that he's telling Huntress to allow her love for Finn to lead her to the cure for his ailments. Huntress is normally so closed off to feelings of love and vulnerability, but if she wants to help Finn, I think she's going to have to face her deepest fears. He also muses that a broken tool seeks the flame, something we actually saw at the very beginning of the episode. When Fionna World loses its magic and Fee knocks Felix down in the street, we see a broken sign in the background for a hardware shop called Big Tools. I think that Spirit Warrior is hinting to Huntress that Fionna is the key to saving Finn, and that she's going to have to put her lone wolf mentality aside to ask Fee for help. Although, I do think it's kind of rude that she's calling her a broken tool. Like, damn, Spirit Warrior, kick a girl while she's down. We know that seeking DJ Flame's affection isn't gonna help her poor self-esteem and self-image, but that's a little harsh. Luckily, Fiona's tears revive Sproutling Huntress, finally quenching her thirst. But now we gotta talk about what's going on over in Prismo's Wish Room, because these few D-plot scenes gave us a ton of new information to speculate on. For starters, Prismo explains to Scarab that the multiverse is completely separate from the Dimensional Tree's plant network on a parallel plane of existence, meaning that none of the cosmic entities of the multiverse have any jurisdiction over this realm. That's probably a huge part of why the Green Wizards tried so hard to hide the heart of the forest. They knew that no one in this realm would be capable of taking on the mysteries of this dimension. There's no calling on Galbetty or the Cosmic Owl or the Scarab's unknown boss to help the gang out of this jam. They're dealing with completely unknown forces here, which makes me even more terrified for Finn, especially because all of the scientific antidotes that PB whipped up are useless against the poison in his cells. Interestingly, we also see Prismo glitch out a little bit in this scene. Last season, there were a couple of instances where characters glitched out and lost their magic, not unlike the way that the Ice Crown's deactivation restored Simon's sanity, or the way that the Stag's portal seemingly sucked up all the Green Wizard's powers. Something in the multiverse or the Forestverse has to be causing these glitches. We didn't get a single explanation for them last season, and I've been dying to understand why they keep happening. Although, I do want to say that I don't think that Fiona's hallucination of the Ice Prince dying before she tried to kiss Hunter was the same kind of glitch. I think she was just having a traumatic flashback to the last time she tried to kiss somebody, so I'm taking that glitch out of this analysis. But there's obviously a correlation between the glitches and the loss of magic for some of these guys. But right now, Prismo seems to be doing fine. The glitch didn't suddenly zap him of his wishing powers as far as we know. Perhaps it's harder to remove the powers of a cosmic deity, but this definitely makes me nervous about what's gonna happen to Prismo, the Cosmic Owl, and even the Scarab this season. Will they eventually lose their powers or even their immortality? I know that this season is steering us towards finding out more about this previously unknown forest dimension, but I also wonder if any of this has to do with the unauthorized multiversal crossovers that the Scarab was so worried about last season. For example, we know that when MCU characters who aren't from the 616 universe appear in 616, like the other Spider-Men from the Sonyverse or Wanda's quest to find a world where her kids are still alive, it causes incursions. These incursions tear apart the fabric of the multiverse, ultimately forcing one of the two or more dimensions involved to implode. Perhaps in the multiverses of Adventure Time and Fionna, dimensional crossovers cause the loss of magic to individuals in their affected worlds. Not only were Simon, Fionna, Cake, and the Scarab traipsing across the multiverse, disrupting the lives of people within for the majority of last season, there's been an even bigger crossover brewing under our noses for years. I'm talking, of course, about the severed Lich Hand that Jake accidentally kicked into every single plane of existence in the multiverse. These Lich Hands have been in each world since the events of the Season 7 episode crossover, which we don't even learn about until Season 9 of the show. That's a long time to be violating the natural order of the multiverse, and I'm surprised that collecting these bad boys wasn't a higher priority for the Scarab. Could the Lich's severed hand be the catalyst for all the glitches we're now seeing within the addition of all these other crossover events in Fionna and Cake? Or is it just the mysterious forest dimension somehow causing the glitching? I have so many questions! The Cosmic Owl bails on their jacuzzi hang to deliver a croak dream. At first, I was worried it was gonna be Finn, but it turns out that Big Destiny's time in Farm World has come to an end. In his dream, Big D imagines himself as a shepherd watching over his flock of Destiny gang members. The dream sky above him reminds me a lot of an I Spy book, and I wonder if the artist borrowed some inspiration here from those. When he tries to save his flock from a wolf, the wolf turns out to be his son Peanut in disguise. It's not often that you see a sheep in wolf's clothing, but Peanut really went for it here. The Cosmic Owl appears in Big D's dream, signifying its importance. Whenever the Cosmic Owl shows up in a dream, it's because something in the dream is going to come true, or teach you a lesson of some kind. Here, the owl's presence at his death means that this patricide nightmare is about to become real life for the Destiny gang. Some fans have pointed out that Big Destiny's dream may be a reference to a prominent death scene in the anime Madoka Magica. Even though Prismo seems somewhat entertained by Big Destiny's death, and even calls it a choice croak dream, his flippancy isn't fooling me. I'm sure that Prismo wasn't able to bring himself to watch Jake's croak dream, and that he'd be a total mess if it happened to any of the characters he's grown fond of. I think this is just a defense mechanism born from years of having to watch the people he loves die, just like PB and Marceline. Prismo is the one that everyone seeks out when their loved ones die, hoping that a wish made inside his cube could bring them back to life. This has to take a toll on your psyche after thousands of years, and I really feel for Prismo. This episode left all of us with a lot more questions than answers, so once again, please hit me up in the comments and let me know what your theories are. Stay tuned for our next breakdown, and make sure you're following us on TikTok and Instagram for the latest updates. I'm Scarlet Wit, and you're watching WhitneyVision.